right now. Yeah. Pat, it looks like you were able to log in using the link.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate your phone call.
Yeah, I was glad I didn't wait any longer.
I know. You know, we'll probably wait 2 more minutes and then we can get started. And I appreciate your patience. Okay. So we can go ahead and join. If you have your microphone on, if you could just mute yourself during the presentation and then at the end you can turn it on. I just want to make sure that we're avoiding echoes. Um, but if you have any questions, there'll be a time to ask at the end, and we can people can join us as they get the link. But thank you for your patience, and we'll just begin with Cindy from Clothes That Work. Thank
Oh,
you, Cindy.
thank you. Hello, I'm Cindy Garner. I'm the executive director at Close at Work, and I'm so honored to be here with you all tonight. I have a brief PowerPoint I was going to share with you. If you all don't mind, I will pull it up here and we'll see if we can get that um, going as a presentation. There you go. Can you all see that? Got it. Okay, so Clothes That Work, if for any of you who are not familiar with us, is an organization that was founded in 1998 with a mission to clothe, educate, and empower individuals to prepare them for employment success. This mission has held true since our inception, pretty close to those very words, a little shorter now. We did a little editing to make it a little more efficient. But back in 1998, it was at a time when the Welfare Reform Act was going on, and it was a work requirement, kind of similar to what they're getting ready to do here in 2027 with the Medicaid work requirement. But people were supposed to be actively seeking work in order to be able to receive those benefits. They didn't really realize that that was going to create some barriers to some of the people in our community at the time. To employment. For example, people that had children, there was childcare issues. Some of the people didn't have the education that was required for going to work. And then there were things like transportation, which is a huge barrier in our community. We still have the RTA, of course, as a resource, but sometimes people were not even able, and a lot of people don't have access to the RTA. And then the final one, of course, was clothing and the appropriate attire to wear to the workplace. So these founding mothers that you see on the screen were very interested in trying to solve for some of these barriers, and they settled on the best thing that they could do was go into their closets and find clothing that would be appropriate for these job seekers. And they created a little clothing closet that started out at the job center in 1998. And fast forward 27, 28 years, here we are now. And we have just moved from the job center after being there for 27 years to a new location here in Kettering. That is going to help us grow and be able to serve more women, men, and independent teens. As you can see at the bottom there, we have served more than 45,000 clients since we were founded in 1998. Here's a list of the programs that we provide to the community. Our signature program, of course, is the clothing and coaching program. That was how we were founded. We provide that clothing that job seekers need to, number one, have an interview. And then second, after they get their job, if they are successful, they are invited to come back to close that work, and then we will give them a full wardrobe for their that's workplace appropriate. So, for example, if somebody was going to go into a manufacturing position, we would give them steel-toe boots and heavy dungarees and things like that that were appropriate for the workplace. We give them a week's worth of clothing and accessories and things like undergarments and toiletries and all of the essentials that they would need. In 2023, we launched our mobile outreach initiative, which is another version of the clothing and coaching program, but it helps eliminate that transportation barrier. We actually take our clothing and coaching program out on the road so that people have access to our services and that transportation barrier is eliminated. If you see that picture there in the orange box on the screen, that is the interior of our mobile unit. And you can see really looks like a high-end boutique. And we like to make our clients that come to us feel very special when we have the opportunity to serve them. So we wanted to make sure that it was something that they wouldn't forget and that they would enjoy the experience and that they would feel very special. A new initiative that we started in the last, I'd say, 7 or 8 years, is the Workforce Education Initiative. We were providing the clothing and helping them to achieve their job goals through their interviews and clothing that we provided for them. But we also realized and had feedback from businesses in the community that a lot of the people we were serving were coming from generations of unemployment, and that they had not had the work appropriate behaviors modeled for them. And so this Workforce Education Initiative program that we started, I believe it was in 2017, was to help, help build those workplace appropriate behaviors up in people that had not had been exposed to them. It's kind of, we call it the unwritten rules of the employee manual. It's the things that you can also call as transferable skills, enduring skills, but they really help people be successful in the workplace. Once they get a job, they can maintain the job. And then finally, our last program that we like to discuss with people like you guys is our volunteer services. So we have all volunteer opportunities throughout all of these programs that I've mentioned, as well as the program that the boutique that we have, which is an opportunity for our community to be able to have access to some of the clothing that we are not able to provide to our clients. And it's a resource for the community. It's a resource for our former clients to come back and fill out wardrobes if they'd like. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a few more minutes. Let's go back to the clothing and coaching program. It really helps us connect job seekers to the interview, coaching, and professional clothing they need to be able to succeed. As I said before, they don't know what they don't know, and we try to do what we can to give them the the encouragement that they need to be confident and successful in their job interviews. We pair each one of our clients that come to close that work with a trained volunteer coach who helps them with interview tips. They talk about questions that they can expect and questions that they should ask about their workplace. And so we just want to try to get them prepared as best as they can so that when they go into their job interviews, they're not kind of caught off guard when someone asks the question, tell me about yourself, for example. The program is supported by the community. We receive clothing donations from all over from the community, and about 160,000 items of clothing, for example, were received last year in 2025 from the generosity of just people in the around the Dayton area who are willing to donate clothing. A lot of times we'll get clothing from people who are retiring and they're in great shape. Clothing still is, it can still be worn and still used. And so they feel like it's going to a good home when it comes to close that work because we do find new homes for it, the clothing with some of these potential job seekers. This just shows the trajectory of our programs and our clothing coaching program. Prior to the pandemic, obviously, you can see we were up in the 800s to 900 people served per year. And then in 2024, we're finally starting to climb back up. And in 2025, we did cross over that 800 threshold that we've been trying to get back to. So it's taken us about 5 years, 6 years to recover from that pandemic. This is our mobile outreach initiative. This vehicle was launched in 2023.
Wait a minute.
As I mentioned earlier, it helps eliminate transportation barriers that some of our clients may experience. We are providing the same clothing and coaching services that you would receive if you came to close that work as a client. And now we are taking this program out on the road. We're in 5 different counties. You can see down there at the bottom, Montgomery, Greene, Miami, Clark, and Hamilton County. We have exceeded there on the right, it says 4,300 plus miles driven, but in 2025 we exceeded 5,000 miles. So we're really proud of that. We are really getting out into the community and meeting people where they are and where the need is for the clothing and coaching program. Our workforce education initiative, provides training and professional transferable skill development to job seekers. As I mentioned before, we talked with people in the community. They kind of let us know what was missing in their workforce as far as skills. And the biggest thing they said was that people just didn't have those transferable skills, those enduring skills, the professional soft skills, we also call them, that are needed to be able to maintain a job. We take this workforce education initiative program out on the road as well. We partner with the Dayton Metro Library branches. If you all take the Dayton Daily News, you may see it in the Sunday paper, the listings of all the workshops that we provide. And then those workshops are also customizable for some of our referral partners that send clients to us. We also offer them these workshops and we customize them for the needs for what their clients need as well. So let's go on to the next slide. This shows the statistics and the growth of the Workforce Education Initiative. It's been unbelievable. If you can see from 2022 to 2024, we had an increase or a percent increase of 140%. There's a high demand for this program, and we are always looking for volunteers to help us, especially in this area, because we need people who are willing to go into the classroom and present these workshops for us. We've gotten to the point now where there's such a demand that we have sometimes 3 and 4 different sites where we're presenting these workshops throughout the community per day. And so we really are starting to try to build up that volunteer corps to support this program. Next slide is about some of the volunteer services that we mentioned throughout here. All of our operations are supported through our volunteers. We have over 60 regular volunteers. These are long-term volunteers, not the kind are like done in a day or one and done type volunteer things. These are people who are trained to really do regular volunteer work with our clients and with our programs. So there's, again, a variety of roles. We have the client coaches, which we can have in-house here on site at Close That Work. We have a men's client service area and a women's client service area, and we pair those coaches up with each one of our clients who come in and let them work together to craft their outfits that they're looking to have for their interviews as well as for their workplace. Client coaches are also needed for our mobile outreach unit. So if you like to go into new locations, that would be a great opportunity for people to meet people in new locations. We were in Cincinnati last week and we served about 35 clients, which is incredible. And today we were supposed to be up in Troy. I'm not sure how many we had up there, but that is kind of an overview of what that would include. Workshop facilitators, as I mentioned, for the Workforce Education Initiative, are people that will be helping and working in the classroom to present our workshops. Other things that we are always looking for volunteers for is our inventory management. On a daily basis, we get hundreds of items of clothing a day, and we are always looking for help with sorting, hanging, sizing, and pricing some of that inventory. And then, of course, our boutique, which serves as a revenue stream for our organization, is always looking for people to help us greet the public and serve as sales associates. Again, the boutique is an upscale resale shop. It's open to the public and it is 100% supported by volunteers, and the sales that come from the revenue that's generated in the boutique goes directly back into our CTW programs. Again, we keep about 160,000 plus items of clothing out of landfills, so it's the ultimate in recycling if you are into those kinds of things. And we also do as another way to kind of partner with the community and build rapport. We have shopping parties that people can host in our boutique. You can use it as an opportunity for networking events. I mean, this group could have a meeting in our conference room and then afterwards could shop in our boutique and have a private party if you were ever interested in doing that. Sometimes you could do a birthday party or a holiday party. We had a lot of Valentine's or Galentine's parties around the holiday of Valentine's Day, which were really fun. And then here's a little bit about our new location. We moved into the old St. Francis thrift store, if you're not aware of that, in July of 2025. And this is what it looks like now on the right-hand side. We went from the job center where we had about 12,000 square feet of space. We're now in this new multi-use space where we're able to house all of our operations under one roof and 28,000 square feet. So we really feel like we've got lots of room to grow, and we're very excited about that. It's allowed us the ability to increase our inventory and our capacity to support the growth of our programs. Where we were at the job center prior, we only had about 3,000 square feet of warehouse space, and we were only able to keep about one season ahead of clothing. And we needed to have more space to be able to accommodate the growth of our programs. And so now we're pleased that this new location allows us to have about 15,000 square feet of nothing but warehouse space for our inventory, which is awesome. We've also built our staff, our team capacity, so that we can start growing our mission. And the boutique has just about doubled in size from what we had at the job center. And there's a view of the boutique on the left, and then the women's client services on the top right, and the men's client services area on the bottom right. So On the Move is our campaign that we put together to help us raise the funds we needed to be able to relocate to this space. It's kind of helping us with the building the capacity to grow the organization. It also helps us with empowering our clients and also with securing their futures. Our impact, this is from 2024, 706 clients were served through our clothing and coaching program in-house, and then we had additional people that we served in our mobile unit as well. So that was about 181, I believe, is what that number was. So about 887 people in 2024 were impacted by our clothing and coaching program. You can see on the left there the graph. When we started out this organization, it was one that was kind of created for women serving women. And now you can see that 57% of our clients, actually 58, are men. And our mobile unit has exceeded 5,000 miles now, and this was the number of clients we served in the mobile unit in 2024. So here is the funds that were raised through our boutique in 2024. All of that money, as I said, goes directly back into our programs because we are volunteer run, and our costs, overhead costs, are really slim because of that. You can see that those sales represent about 20% of our annual income. And then here's our impact for our clothing donations. In our new place, those clothing donations are up 30%. Prior to our move, we were at about 124,000 items of clothing per year that we processed. As I mentioned earlier, we're up to about 160,000 in our new space, so we're really thrilled. These are some of the donation needs too, here on the right in the blue box. That we are always looking for. We, as I said, rely on the generosity of our community to provide the clothing that our clients need. So we're always looking for steel-toe boots in whatever condition, as long as it can be something that could get someone a new job, a new employee, I'm sorry, on the job site. We don't really care about the condition too much. They may be looking a little rough, but if they can work for a few weeks, get a paycheck or two underneath their belts, then they can buy their own steel-toe boots later on. So we just want to make sure that they're ready to go to work as soon as they can. Belts, undergarments, scrubs, shoes. So these are a lot of the items that we're always looking for donations. These are our immediate needs. Our number one need is volunteers. We talked a lot about some of the programs, and I'm happy to answer questions about that after we're done with this presentation a little bit. And we are trying to grow our programs, and in order for us to be able to do that, we have to have people that can volunteer and help us with that growth.
Dave,
Number two
Dave,
is awareness. We
you're sleeping.
move to a new location, and we always are anxious to have people help us get the word out and spread the word that we are here in Kettering, and always sharing about our boutique as a new community resource, as well as the client services programs that we offer to any referral partners, potential referral partners. That's another one that we're always looking for. Number three are partnerships where we can connect with other organizations or churches or organizations that provide services to the community where we could also partner together and provide our services to their constituents as well. And I think that's about it. And I am happy to answer any questions if anyone has questions. Any questions?
Cindy, if we have
Quiet.
people who need your services, do we just
Let's
send
see,
them
Pat, I don't
directly
think
to
I can hear
you?
you.
Could you hear me?
Barely. Yep. Try again.
Okay. I was asking if we have people who need your services, do we just send them directly to you, or do we need to
So the
contact
way
you?
we get our clients that we serve is through a network of referral partners. So we have in the past had a partnership with St. Vincent de Paul, and they've been able to send clients through that referral partnership with us. What a referral partnership includes is a small fee of about, it depends on how many clients you want to send a year. But I'll just use an example about if you were a small organization, $150 dollars would get you to be able to send 15 clients to us a year. So it's about $10 a client. We also have a next tier, for a larger organization, and then that 10 to 15 range would be about $375, depending on the size of the organization. We do also have a great partnership with the colleges and universities in our community. We offer students the opportunity to come to close that work for a small fee. We charge $40 for them to get outfitted for interviews. And lately, we have really had a great success with University of Dayton students. We're closer to them now, and I think they really like the location and have been coming here. Last week, I believe we had on Friday, we had 18 students from University of Dayton, which was really great.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Pat?
Yes,
Okay,
thank
good.
you.
Yeah, that
Yes.
raises a whole lot more questions for me, but most of it is going to be for our various conference leaders around town, and to see if we should have a partnership um, with Clothes That Work, and approximately how many of our conferences, or about
Yeah.
how many they might want to send a year. But yeah, that would be really great.
Yeah, I think that would be really great for us to talk about that. I think it would be a way for, you could probably combine your groups together and say, let's do, 15 or 20 a year and just try it out.
Uh-huh.
So we're willing to work with you all, just if you want to give us a call and we can see what we could work out. I think that would be great.
Fantastic. Thanks, Cindy.
Okay?
Cindy,
Yes.
do you have any role in obtaining an interview for a client?
We do not do the job search part. The partners are already working with these clients that we are getting in some capacity. whether they're helping them with, training. So I'll give you an example. We have a group that comes to us from the AFL-CIO, and they're in a program called Building Futures. And they're training them, giving them those job skills that they need to be able to work in the construction field. And then they help place them in jobs or help them get jobs. But but what they do is they send them to us to get the clothing that they need. Number one, for interviews. And then if they get the job, they can come back and get the construction clothing that they need.
So do you find that the clients come to you before they have that interview to get prepared, or is it when they got the interview secured and they're wanting to get ready for it?
It's both. It just depends. Like we'll have particularly a cohort, like Building Futures, where there's already a group of people that are getting this training together, and then they'll bring the whole cohort here and get them the interview clothing because they know that they're going to be interviewing as soon as the cohort ends.
Mm-hmm.
And another example of that would be our Office of Reentry. We work with the Montgomery County Office of Reentry, and they'll have a cohort of clients that will come. But, it can be one-offs too. So, excuse me, Miami Valley Works, for example, with Goodwill Easter Seals, will just send clients as needed because the referral partnership is for a year.
Mm.
Excuse me, let me grab a little sip of water. Okay. Any other questions?
All right. Thank you so much, Cindy. Definitely if we have any more questions, and definitely if we're thinking about ways that we can continue to build a connection for referral, definitely interested in that. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for presenting.
Well, thank you for letting me come tonight, and I'm happy to answer questions if you think of them later. Just give us a call or send us an email.
Awesome. Awesome.
All
Thanks so
right.
much. Have a great night.
Thank you so much.
Nick?
Yes.
Oh, that's an applause. I thought you had your hand
Yeah,
up.
no, that was just applause.
Okay, awesome. And then I think up next we have Katie Lewis from SSVF. And whenever you're ready, Katie.
Hello. I'm going to share, I just share my screen, okay?
That's great. Yeah.
And I have a little video, so then I don't forget what I was going to say because I get nervous.
I love it. That's great.
Okay. Oops.
And as Katie's getting that set up again, could everyone just mute themselves that way everyone can hear.
Can you see that?
I can see it. Yes.
Now, tell me if you can hear it, okay?
Okay.
And thank you for being here tonight.
Did you hear it?
Yep.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Because you joined the Zoom meeting, I want you to know something. Your presence here already means veterans in our community have a better chance of keeping a house or finding a home. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through the SSVF program. That's Supportive Services for Veteran Families, a VA-funded program operated right here at Sing Tight, Vincent DePaul in Dayton, Ohio. In the next 20 minutes, you're going to understand exactly what we do, who we serve, and most importantly, how one simple phone call from you can change a veteran's life. So let's start at the beginning. Let me tell you who we are.
I know you guys already know this part, so bear with me.
Saint Vince for generations. We are a faith-based nonprofit, and what sets us apart is that we are person to person. That means our volunteers sit at kitchen tables with families in crisis. We're not a government agency. We're your neighbors helping their neighbors. We provide emergency shelter, food, clothing, household goods, and permanent housing programs across the greater Dayton area. SSVF, the program we're talking about tonight, is our specialized arm for veterans. It takes everything St. Vincent de Paul does best, trust, access, and compassion, and adds dedicated housing expertise and federal funding on top. When you refer a veteran to us, you're sending them to an organization with deep roots in this community. So what exactly is SSVF? SSVF, Supportive Services for Veteran Families, is a program funded by the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Congress appropriates those grant dollars, and they flow to community nonprofits like us to deliver services on the ground. Here's the core mission. SSVF helps low-income veterans and their families reach housing stability using a housing-first approach. Housing first is important, so let me explain it. It means we do not require veterans to be ready before they get housed. We believe housing is the foundation, not the reward. Once a veteran has stable housing, everything else, health, employment, recovery, becomes possible. We've been doing this since 2013. SSVF grantees now operate in 98% of all coordinated service regions nationwide. Nearly every veteran who needs help has access to a program like ours. Our program covers a wide area, 16 counties across Ohio and Indiana, reaching from the Dayton metro all the way into rural communities. In Ohio, we serve counties like Montgomery, Clark, Greene, and Miami right in the heart of the Miami Valley, and extend out to Darke, Mercer, Auglaize, and others further west and north. In Indiana, we serve Wayne, Fayette, Franklin, and Union counties. We operate within 3 coordinated service regions, what we call continuums of care, that connect us to the broader homelessness response network in each area. If you ever encounter a veteran and you're not sure they're in our coverage area, just call. We'll answer that in 2 minutes. And if they're not, we'll help connect them to whoever can help. Behind everything you're hearing tonight is a real team of dedicated people. We have a program manager overseeing compliance and strategy, 5 case managers providing direct veteran support, 2 shallow subsidy case managers. They handle longer-term cases where veterans are housed but still need a modest rental supplement to stay stable. And specialists covering eligibility, legal services, healthcare navigation, housing coordination, and compliance. 9 positions. Each one plays a specific role in getting veterans to stable housing and keeping them there. Here's what I want you to take away from this slide. When you refer someone to SSVF, you are not sending them into a void. A real person will contact them within 2 business days. There's a human on the other end of that call, someone who knows this program and genuinely cares. Our mission is to help low-income veteran families reach housing stability, meeting the most basic human need as quickly as possible. 3 values guide everything we do. First, housing first. A veteran doesn't need to earn their housing. They don't need to be sober, employed, or mentally stable before they get a roof over their head. Once they're housed, everything else becomes possible. Second, crisis response. We don't walk away after placement. We stay with a household until they're truly stable, sometimes for months after they've moved in. Third, choice and empowerment. Even in a housing crisis, veterans have rights. We never place someone in housing they didn't choose. We work with them, not for them. These aren't just values on a slide. They are the operating principles behind every case we run. Let's talk about who qualifies for SSVF, because this is where a lot of potential referrals get lost. Basic eligibility. The person served in the U.S. Military. Any branch, any era. Their discharge cannot be a bad conduct or uncharacterized with a general court-martial. And their household income is at or below 50% of what's called the area median income, a federal threshold that covers most veterans in a housing crisis. For rapid rehousing, the veteran is currently homeless or at imminent risk within 14 days. For prevention services, they're about to lose housing within 30 days with no other options. And very importantly, household members are covered too. Spouses and children. You don't have to refer just the veteran. Now, here's a critical distinction I want you to hear clearly. SSVF is not a general eviction prevention program. It's specifically designed for veterans who would end up on the street or in a shelter if we didn't step in. When in doubt, call us. We do the screening. You don't need to pre-qualify anyone. What exactly can SSVF do for a veteran you refer? 4 core service areas. Outreach. We go where veterans are. Shelters, hospitals, encampments. Your referral is often the first step in that outreach chain. Case management. Every veteran we serve gets an individualized plan. Goals, timelines, and accountability, with the veterans setting the direction, not us. VA benefits help. Many veterans we work with have benefits they've never claimed. Disability, healthcare, education. We help them apply and navigate the VA system. And other public benefits, SNAP, Medicaid, Social Security. We don't just look at VA resources. We wrap in every available support so veterans aren't falling back through other gaps. SSVF is not just a check for the rent. It is a comprehensive response. Beyond the core services, SSVF can also support veterans with healthcare, daily living skills, personal financial planning, transportation, legal aid, childcare, and housing counseling. These aren't extras. They're often the difference between a veteran who stays housed and one who doesn't. A missed medical appointment, an unpaid utility bill, a childcare barrier, any of these can undo a housing placement. And here's something I want you to hear clearly. SSVF can make time-limited direct payments to landlords, utility companies, movers, and licensed childcare providers. These are not loans. These are not reimbursements. They are direct payments to stabilize housing. If a veteran is close to stability and just needs one bridge payment to get there, we may be able to help. Our program also runs several specialized tracks. On the left are core program types. Rapid rehousing gets veterans out of homelessness and into permanent housing without preconditions. Shallow subsidy provides ongoing rental support for marginally stable households. Returning home serves veterans recently released from incarceration, hospitalization, or treatment, a critical vulnerability window. And shared housing gives veterans tools to explore co-living arrangements where the rental market is tight. On the right, active initiatives running right now. Legal services, homelessness prevention, rapid resolution, same-day problem solving for veterans in immediate crisis, healthcare navigation, and community outreach connecting us to partners like you. I want to specifically call out returning home and rapid resolution. If you work in hospital discharge, re-entry, or VA healthcare, these 2 programs are built for your referrals. Please reach out directly. Maria and her children are in Clark County. She's staying with family after leaving an unsafe situation. Her late husband served. SSVF can help her access permanent housing and VA survivors benefits she may not even know she qualifies for. Pause. Robert is a Vietnam-era veteran in Dark County. He's sleeping in his car. He won't go to a shelter, but he'll talk to you. With his permission, introduce SSVF. We meet veterans where they are, without judgment, without conditions. Pause. And Darnell, recently out of service in Greene County. Can't make rent. Doesn't know about the VA benefits he's earned. SSVF handles benefits navigation and housing stability at the same time. Have you met someone like one of these people? I'd be willing to guess the answer is yes. So how do you actually make a referral? 4 steps. You can complete all of them in under 5 minutes. Step 1, gather the basics. You need the veteran's name, a phone number, and a general sense of the situation. Homeless, facing eviction, can't make rent. That's it. No intake form, no case number, no documentation from you. Step 2, ask permission. Before you call us on someone's behalf, make sure they're okay with it. Something as simple as, is it okay if a housing specialist reaches out to you? That one question respects their autonomy and sets the right tone. Step 3, call us. The number is 1-888-761-1238. I'll say that again, 1-888-761-1238. We're available Monday through Friday, 8 in the morning to 4:30 in the afternoon. You can call on their behalf or simply give them our number. Step 4, we take it from there. We contact the veteran within 2 business days for a free, confidential screening. Then we open a case and begin services. You don't have to follow up unless you want to. 1 phone number. 1 call. That's all it takes. No single organization can end veteran homelessness, but together, we absolutely can. This slide shows how the pieces fit together. St. Vincent de Paul brings person-to-person ministry, emergency shelter, food, clothing, community trust, and the open door that many veterans will walk through before they'll walk through a government door. SSVF brings housing funds, case management, Virginia benefits navigation, legal services, and the rapid response engine. And in the center, that's you. Community partners. DVOP officers helping with employment. VSO representatives advocating for benefits. Military family support programs. VA health professionals. Coordinated care network partners. Every referral you make connects these columns. Every time you say, "Have you called SSVF?" you are part of this response. If we all work together, we can help end veteran homelessness in this community. That's not a slogan. That is a strategy. Spoken script. So does any of this actually work? Let me share our numbers. Pause. 4 days. That's the average time from referral to admission. When someone calls us, they are not waiting weeks to be seen. Pause. 42 days. That's the average time from enrollment to housing placement. We're moving fast. Pause. 79%. That is our rate of veterans exiting to permanent housing. Nearly 4 in 5. Pause. And 93% or higher. That is the share of veterans we've placed who are still housed 6 months later. That's the number that matters most. Getting housed is step 1. Staying housed is the mission. When you refer a veteran to us, there is a very high likelihood they will end up permanently housed and stay there. That's what your referral does.
Oops. The rest kind of says the same. Let me turn this off. How do I unshare it? Well, it doesn't matter. But the rest of it kind of says the same thing over and over about how to make the referrals to our program. And what, can you still hear me? Oops.
Yes.
One thing that they said that I did want to review is it said if you're a veteran and what qualifies as a veteran. So you don't have to be eligible for VA healthcare to be eligible for SSVF services. So we typically ask, have you ever served in the military? And we get more yes answers than when we ask if you're a veteran, just because there's different definitions for that. And we have the ability to look up if somebody is a veteran, as long as we have their name and date of birth or name and social security number, we can identify if they're a veteran same day or same, like on the phone right away, most of the time. Does anybody have questions?
Hey, this is Bill Evans. I
Hi,
think I'm not
Bill.
on mute. If you can comment about this, if you remember, it wasn't that long ago, and I just want my other Vincentian colleagues to hear this. A couple weeks ago on the district line, and everybody has an emergency, but I wanted to personally thank you and Adriana. This was a veteran in a motel in Beaver Creek. Somebody was in a wheelchair. They had adequate money, but somehow, I don't know if their timing was wrong, but there was a lot of medical problems. The daughter was in a wheelchair. They were going to, before the end of the day, have been forcibly removed from their motel room. And before that day was over, you responded to that situation, and I thank you for that. But I thought that was extreme. Is that something you encounter more than we imagine with veterans who are down to their last 24 to 48 hours and are risking homelessness? Or was that a very extreme situation?
I would say, well, the becoming homeless within 24 to 48 hours, that's not uncommon. But there are a number of adults with the two adults that were disabled in that situation, that probably made it a little more complicated than some of the other
Mm-hmm.
adults. So I would say that's definitely would be considered an extreme case. There was a lot more to that one. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
But we do get last minute calls. They're out of money. They're going to be homeless tonight. Emergencies because people don't want to ask for help, and you can kind of think that you're going to figure it out or have a plan. Maybe it falls through, but it just doesn't always work out. Then most of the time they're just forced to have to ask for help. So that's where they're at.
Edie,
Sad.
this is Dottie Thompson. I have a question. Do we have to call you to refer the veteran, or can they call you directly?
Yep, they can call us directly.
Okay, thank you.
So, Katie, I
We have
have one more question. I don't know the answer. And at the VA, there's a certain number of housing units for veterans right on the grounds of the VA, correct?
Correct.
And is it a possibility? Are there two or three or no empty units there where somebody had an extreme crisis, they could just, rather than say, well, I'm going to be sitting at the curb tonight. Is there any way that, you know, with you as a liaison, that you could just call the VA and say, hey, somebody, they're coming here tonight, and we'll take care of the rest of the problem in the morning? Are there any last ditch open vacancies on the grounds of the VA or not?
So sometimes there are. So they do have the
Sometimes, yeah.
homeless programs. The the building 400 is specifically for that reason, and then so is building 410. But the hold up there is they have to complete it. A lot of times they'll make them complete the assessment process first, and their walk-in hours are,
Hmm.
9 to 4, 9 to 3. So it's happened. Like we have been able to do it and said we'll get everything done the next day. But there's also been times that it hasn't happened. It's not impossible. Usually they call us though for that type of situation.
Katie, this is Connie with St. Henry. So are you a separate entity from the VA?
Yes, so we're funded by the VA in like the VA in Washington. We're funded by the VA, but they gave the grants to various nonprofits, like basically all over the United States, trying to make sure that every county is covered. And it's probably more affordable for them to subcontract and do the grants than to provide it all themselves. But they just realized there was too many veterans that were having housing crisis and they needed help from the community. So that's where they came up with it.
So if
And
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. Go ahead.
So if the neighbor would say, well, I've contacted the VA and they can't help me, we should still send them to you, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Usually the VA will call us, but not always. But a lot of times they don't have to be eligible for the VA, so they might have been told no, they can't help them, but then we could. So it's always worth a try.
Yes.
Katie, when people come to our emergency shelter, either ours or the one we used to run over at Gettysburg, um, do um, do the folks, I don't even know this, I should know this, but do the folks at the front desk like ask them if they're veterans, and if so, they call you? Yes.
So they do a front door assessment, and that is one of the screening questions. And then as long as they get entered in HMIS, they don't usually call us, but as long as they enter them in HMIS, every morning we pull a report to see what veterans stayed in the shelter the night before, and then make a plan to go out and meet with any new ones
Oh, cool.
or try to find them.
That's
And we're
great.
able to do that for all all the counties that we cover. So that's nice.
Excellent. Thanks.
Do we have any more questions for Katie? If not, thank you so much, Katie. We really appreciate
Sure,
it.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
And up next, we have Ombudsman. I saw them earlier.
I'm here.
Oh, great. All right. And whenever you're ready.
Well, thank you very much, Max, for this invitation. I'm extremely grateful to be invited to speak with you all tonight. We at the Ombudsman Office have enjoyed many decades of working with St. Vincent de Paul in a lot of different ways. It was interesting to come in on the tail end of Katie's presentation because we also work a lot with St. Vincent through not only the parishes, but also with the shelters and have for a long time. As you can imagine, because our mandate is to help people and to investigate those who are having problems with government agencies. And as you all already probably know, many people who become homeless have had problems with government agencies. Many enter the shelter having lost most of their IDs, most of their possessions. And as you all know, in our country at this time, increasingly every year, people have to have stronger and stronger proof of identification to get access to anything. So it's often a matter of rebuilding their own lives to get that ID to go through the process. But we have worked with you all, your predecessors and your colleagues for many years in a very congenial way and in a very appreciative way from our point of view. And I want to give a particular hello to Bill. I haven't seen you in a while, but you've been of great help to my office and of great help to many individuals who, sorry, I just moved my screen, to many individuals that you have referred to us and many that we have referred back to you. So back to Ombudsman, I don't want to presume too much about people knowing what we do, but who you all can refer to us are people that are having problems with government agencies. And I could sit here and spend all the rest of the time that I have to speak with you tonight enlisting those government agencies, but I'm not going to bore you with that. Many individuals may not realize that X, Y, or Z is a government agency, but we do, and we can help them sort that out. And we are very fortunate in our office. We're the only one of our kind in the state of Ohio. And we were the third ombudsman office established in the United States. And we were established in 1971. And it was so early because we had very forward thinking elected officials that were on the county commission and the city commission and the Dayton Public School Board at that time. So they decided to establish our office then, and we've been in existence ever since. So we have a mandate to investigate complaints for residents of Montgomery County about any administrative act of government. And if you think about that for a minute, that's a very broad jurisdiction. We only work for residents of Montgomery County, so that is somewhat narrow. But any administrative act of government can span not only the county, the city, and the school board, but it also includes state and federal agencies. So our jurisdictional geographic area is limited and defined, but the agencies are about whom we can accept complaints is rather broad. And in fact, it's sometimes easier just to tell somebody to call us and we'll figure it out. We are not a law office, but we've become very adept at knowing when a problem can be resolved without an attorney, through an ombudsman, or through sometimes their own initiative. They just don't know which direction to go in, or when it really needs to go to a court. And if you all will think with me for 1 second, many people receive letters informing them of things that come from government agencies that are not really intelligible for them. They can read, that's not the problem. It's that our government agencies have a style of writing to people that is in a bureaucratic language that does not speak to them about exactly what the problem is in a layman's term and what needs to be done to fix it. So we have had people entering our office in tears saying, I got this letter from the IRS, or I got this letter from the state of Ohio, or I got this letter about my Social Security benefits, or this or that. You get the idea. They have a communication that there's something wrong, but it doesn't really give them a clear opportunity about what to do to figure it out. Sure, it tells them how to appeal. That's the law. And they have to have that option to appeal. But a lot of things don't have to go through an appeal. Sometimes things can get resolved in a more cordial and a simpler way. We've been able to resolve some of these cases that come to us like that in a day or an afternoon. Sometimes they take months. It just depends on how thorny the situation is. But you all do a yeoman's service to the community by helping so much and so many people. Years ago, I was involved with a group of people that formed an emergency assistance coalition. And the people that give out money in the community to help resolve problems came together at that time for a couple of years to talk about how can we do this better? What are we seeing? What are our common problems? And of course, St. Vincent's was at the table. And it was chaired by Kate Kelbley, who many of you may know, a longtime staff person at the Salvation Army, and then later in her career with the St. Vincent de Paul Agency. So it was learned during a survey we did back in those days, and I'm sure it hasn't changed, that the St. Vincent de Paul was the largest contributor of assistance to people in need in our community. That's something to be very proud of. And I'm sure, even though we've not done such a study or added up the figures, I'm sure that continues today. So, what we do again is to help people with government agencies, but a lot of us don't always know if our problem is with a government agency, or not, because a lot of people don't exactly know what is state, what is federal, what is municipal, what is schools. I've had many people call me or write me and say, I want to talk to the mayor about Dayton Public Schools. Well, that's fine. I'm sure the mayor would love to hear about it, but the mayor is not the one that has influence over Dayton Public Schools. That's their own school board and their hired superintendent. But it's okay for people not to know that. They have to start somewhere in figuring out, how to get help. So that's what we really excel at. And we refer a lot of individuals to you all. And while we don't always know where our callers are coming from, I wouldn't be surprised if you all also refer a lot of people to us. So, to some degree, I think I'm preaching to the choir, if I may use that, because I think you all already know something about the Ombudsman's office. But I'd like to leave some time here to be able to answer any of your questions. Um, we have a principle in our office that we don't want to turn anyone away. If their complaint is not in our jurisdiction, my staff just frankly are not good, and I'm glad of this, uh, to say, we can't help you, because we can always point people in the right direction. If we're not the right agency, then we might know about 4 or 5 agencies out there that might be able to lend a hand to this. Um, as I'm sure you all, see in the calls that you all get, our society, and particularly in Ohio, is aging. So we have a lot more seniors who are needing things that they may not have needed before. I think one in particular I'd like to highlight is the Social Security Administration. Our calls and complaints about Social Security have really increased. And it's several factors coming together. It's not that that agency is doing a poor job. It's that the population they're serving is increasing by leaps and bounds as baby boomers enter their systems. And many baby boomers, as you all might imagine, have never had to deal with many bureaucracies before in their lives. And now all of a sudden they're left dealing with this agency that seems to have many, many walls around it to get to help. As you all probably know, you can't even enter the federal building where their agency is housed here without the proper ID. And that alone presents a lot of people with a burden. And one used to be able to call the local Social Security office directly, but now, in order to be more efficient with their inquiries, they have set up a national line that everyone goes to as an 800 number. And so many are frustrated by that block of access to get questions answered quickly. And so many increasingly turn to us. And at the same time, recent government policies have reduced the number of people who are there to provide service through that agency. So we are seeing federal agencies, on the one hand, having increasing demands, and at the same time, having restrictions on the number of staff that are available there to help. And also, many of the processes of Social Security take place outside of the Dayton, Ohio, Montgomery County area, payment centers, and they've organized themselves that way. So sometimes it's very difficult to get to an answer from them, not because they're trying to make it difficult, but that's just the way it has shaken out. And we deal a lot with those cases. And I'll say this about Social Security to begin with and then move on to others, but um, we have an excellent response to our inquiries to the government agencies. Thank goodness. It enables us to efficiently do our work. And that is because we were established and continue to be funded by the elected officials. So that's known. And so therefore we get that kind of support. We don't get walls put up for us when we send inquiries. We also do something on our end to help pave the way for that. We always send releases of information that we have a person's written permission to, to talk to the agency about their problem. You'd be surprised and probably disappointed about the number of other agencies that don't ask for that. That's partially because of our reputation and status in the community, but they just don't ask for it, and they should. They should always ask who has permission to ask questions about a person's benefits or a person's account or whatever. But Social Security, we always send them the release of information, and we also frame the complaints that we send to them in a logical analysis so that we're not coming off as raving advocates, which sometimes it's good to be that and to turn into that, but not on your initial inquiry. You want to present the facts in a way that agency staff people can deal with. But one example, once I contacted a school system and I was talking about a complaint that we had received and explaining it to their new attorney for the school district. And the attorney stopped and he said, "I'm not sure if I should be talking to you." And I said, "I understand that. You have to do your due diligence to make sure everything is correct here." And I said, "So let's do this. I'll send you my mandate or my purposes for existence. And then you please go speak to your superintendent, and then you can call me back in your time after you've been able to do that." It wasn't 5 minutes before he called back. And he said, "Yes, I need to talk to you." So I wasn't just a crazy lady, calling with a complaint from a family about something at the schools. So it's that legitimacy that helps pave the way for us to get things done in that system. And that means that we do a lot of outreach. We do a lot of outreach in print and in media, and we do a lot of outreach to continually let people know that we're here and we can help them and how long we've been around. And, our newspaper article, it never fails that after the newspaper article appears, I will get a call will come into the office where someone will say, "I have the exact same complaint as the person in the column that you wrote about last week." Of course, it never is exactly the same, but it just proves that triggers the individual to have learned that there is an opportunity and a place where they can go to get an answer to their question. So our long-standing relationship with St. Vincent's has been very much appreciated because you all are sometimes the exact salvation that somebody needs, a family may need. And I admire your principle of visiting the home prior to just handing out the assistance that you have. I think that shows that, that hand out and outreach to people, that there is somebody behind this and that there is really a caring that is coming. You'd be surprised how many people in need don't have, well, maybe you all wouldn't be surprised, but don't have a church community or don't have the knowledge that there are places in churches and parishes that will assist people and that can. So that and we also have, I'll speak very briefly because I want to leave some time if you all have questions, or you can interrupt me anytime you want to. Um, we have a long-term care division of Ombudsman that advocates for people that are living in nursing homes, assisted living facilities, group homes. And I'm not sure how often you all interact with that community. But there is an ombudsman from my office that is assigned to every nursing home in a 9 county area. We are responsible for almost 2,000 nursing home beds in the 9 counties around Montgomery County. So, if you hear somebody complaining, either in your volunteerism with St. Vincent's or just in your daily life, if there's somebody making complaints about a facility or care that their loved one is getting in a nursing home, then we're the people to call about that too. So I think I'll kind of stop off there and see if you all have any questions. If not, this is my life, my career. I'll be happy to talk about it as long as you want to tolerate me. But I do want to make sure you have a chance to have any of your questions answered. Is there someone that has a question? Yes, ma'am.
That's not a question so much as a comment that I'm so grateful for what you do, because we can only help people to a certain degree. We can pay their utility bill or give them food or help them in those kinds of ways. But you can get to the root of the problems that send them to us.
Thank
When
you.
yes. So I read those articles in the paper too. And I've always really appreciated what your office does. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you all as well. We're all in it to help our fellow neighbors and to pave the way for people to have easier and better lives. And sometimes, keeping the utilities on, it's really important, particularly in the past couple of months. But when it's been so bad, but it's very important. It allows families to keep things going in order for kids to get to school and continue to learn, and for parents to be able to get to jobs that they have or seek the jobs they want. So thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. Others. Yes, is that Connie with a hand?
Yes. Well, I was trying to unmute myself. My comment is this. It's interesting to me. I take it that you will assist neighbors who have received penalty letters from Social Security Disability, and they're
Yes.
requiring to pay back these amounts of money due to a government mistake. Due to the fact that there wasn't an infraction caught years later, and it let it mount and mount and mount till the neighbor had this huge payback to do. So that is something that you would assist with.
Yes, ma'am, and we do almost daily
Yeah.
because you're right. Social Security does review the benefits that are given to all of us, but they don't do it very frequently. And it seems like it is coming less frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right that if an error, just a simple error in math was done 3 years ago, and the person has been overpaid for 3 or more years, it adds up quickly. And again, people have brought these letters to my office. You owe us $60,000.
Yes.
And the letter will say you need to pay this back on a very unreasonable time
Yeah.
frame
Yes.
for these people. And
Yes.
so we definitely get involved in assisting with that.
And
And
what is your first name? I'm sorry.
Diane,
Diane, I'm glad to know this happened to my disabled daughter, and she's in a payback schedule because it was not detected, just like you're describing. And, we're in our 70s now, and it'll be good to know she has someone to contact should there be another issue. And that's always been my husband and I handled it ourselves. And she's on a long-term payback thing because they didn't find it for years, like you just described. And that is not a defense. Their mistake is not a defense. It's clearly
right.
written. The mistake of the government is not a defense. And so I'm glad to know you're there. And that's a comfort to parents who have children who are with disabilities that are going to be left to fend for themselves. And I'm very grateful, Diane, to hear this. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate hearing that from you. And yes, spread the word about that. Because when you say, the government making a mistake is not a
It is
defense,
not a defense. It's clear.
that's true. It's still, and the reason underneath that, I think we can appreciate, although we don't really like it, the government may have made a mistake, but it's taxpayer money
Right,
that's going out. And so
right.
there's that extra level of accountability
Yes,
that it is taxpayer money that
yes,
are going to these things. And, I'll just take an aside and say, we take complaints whenever taxpayer money is involved. And sometimes these cases are like childcare, for example, that the government, through the Title 20, may be helping support childcare, which is vital to parents, and it's very expensive now, much even more than when my children were coming up. But the child care expenses are so expensive, and people are always trying to get it. It's vital that parents can then work, to be able to support their families. And if they don't have child care, we employers are not that patient. We don't have an unlimited amount of patience for people that have children that there's not care for. So,
right.
but yes, for seniors in particular, we are a resource, and we can help people that are in the situation that you described.
Yes. It must be very hard for you to see the working poor get penalized, and certainly they don't want more than they deserve. When you see so much waste other places, that must be very difficult for your agency. But I really appreciate your time this evening.
Well, thank you so much. And I appreciate what you just said there. There is a frustration in the work about injustice and
Hmm.
inequality in
Yeah.
our society.
Yes.
And of course, the hardest burdens, do fall on the poor. And the, number of complaints we've had about, well, I was unfairly towed, and now it's leading me to lose my car because it's been towed and it's been in the lot, and I can't pay the fees for the lot, could barely pay for the car to
Hmm.
begin with.
Hmm.
And now they can't pay the fees to get it out. And, should a person lose their car, lose their method for transportation? There's so many injustices that we all, bump up against. And together we have to work on those.
Yes. And pray about it.
Yes, of course.
So, Diane, a follow-up question to what Connie asked. And so, this situation with overpayments, so are you able to, to negotiate some of those? I mean, you would be in direct contact with Social Security, and can you alter that payment schedule? Are you able to do that?
I think I heard you clearly. There was some breakup there in our communication. Are we able to, with the overpayment situation?
Yeah, can you
Yes.
negotiate that? Yeah.
No, we really we don't negotiate, and the reason why is that government agencies are, for the most part, their policies and procedures are mandated by law. So you can't negotiate or mediate away a law. The law is there, but you can negotiate how that is implemented for the particular individual. And so it does depend on the individual's activity and what their, sort of defense is. And yes, we do take those on, but we don't make it go away. And we can't make it go away because Congress, many years ago, decided that if there's an overpayment, even due to a government agency error, it's still taxpayer money, has to be accounted for. But I have seen, and our office has worked on payment arrangements for
Yes.
individuals, and I know they're not going to live long enough to pay off what is owed with that. We've been able to get those payments down low enough to where it's all called a hardship, and you negotiate about the
Mhm.
hardship. And, what do they have to live on, and what are their expenses? And Social Security will look at that, and then they will determine if, in fact, what is reasonable. We may have one idea about what's reasonable. Social Security may have another. And there's always the alternative for people to obtain an attorney, although that's easier said than done, because attorneys don't make any money on that kind of case. So they don't want that kind of case on an overpayment. It does them no good. So, but we will work for those people to try to get, what's called a hardship settlement. And
Oh, yeah.
we're
Okay.
fort
I
we're
Mhm.
have a
for, we're fortunate here that we
Good.
do
Thank you.
have a, a great staff at our Social Security Administration office here. And, again, we worked with them for years, and we have the endorsement of the commissioners. When we take to them this information, we are heard. We may not always get what we want, but, such is life. So
Right.
we will give
Di-
it our
Okay.
all.
Diane, this is Karen. Do you have a phone number that you can give us as to how to contact you? Or I have,
Absolutely. Sure,
okay,
sure. Um, Unfortunately, I have to say that due to budget cuts, we don't have a receptionist. So one will have to leave a message for us. But the number is 937-223-4613. And they'll have an option to punch one if they have a complaint about government, or to
okay.
punch two if they have a complaint about long-term care. But it
This is,
really doesn't make any difference. Whatever number somebody punches, we internally will direct the complaint to where it needs to go.
thank you
And
so much.
we also, while you're writing, we also have a website where
Okay,
people can get information from that. It's www.dayton-ombudsman, Ombudsman.org. So there's many, we try to put a lot of answers on that website, but as you know, websites become outdated more frequently than we want them to. But we have one anyway. But thank you for asking that.
Yeah. It's a
Thank
very
you.
good website.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Max, I think I've gone over my allotted time, so I'll turn it back to you to do what you need to do or tell me what I need to do.
Sure. Well, I just have one more question for you. If a conference is looking to refer a neighbor to Ombudsman, would you prefer if the neighbor contacted you directly or if the Vincentian and the neighbor contacted you together?
Actually, for us, it's either way, but we do need to talk to the individual
Okay.
because what we do not do because of our history is that if a third party calls us and says, Mrs. Smith needs help, and this is her phone number, will you call her? Well, several times we've done that, and Mrs. Smith is very surprised and say, I'm quite okay, and I don't need to talk to you.
Mhm.
Why are you calling me? So,
Right.
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
usually works better when
Mhm.
the person who has the problem is speaking to us. And if any of you all want to facilitate that by being on the phone with them, we're happy about that. But we are going to have to get specific information from them to get our release signed and maybe their social number, if that's it, or a case number. We have our own little intake that we have to do, which
Mhm.
you all may want to hang on the phone with them to complete, or you may not to. And that's either way it's fine with us.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Diane.
My
Um,
pleasure.
I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all our Vincentians who joined us for tonight, as well as Vincentians who will be watching this recording. So thank you all so much. I'm very pleased with how this went. Um,
yeah.
and if there are no further questions, thank you very much, Diane. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their evening.
Well,
Thanks, Matt.
thank you very much, and
Good to see you.
good to see you again. And thank you for all your good work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Same
And
to you.
Max, thanks for bringing three great folks on tonight to give us
They're
all
very
sorts of
good.
information. I learned a lot tonight.
I did too. I did
I did
too.
too.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
I